What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is January 11th of 2022. Well, folks, I hope you all are having a fantastic day wherever you are, because in today's video, I want to spend some time to try to do a genuine, non-biased analysis of the recent price action we've been seeing since the start of the new year in Bitcoin's price, from around 16,500 all the way up to around 17,500. And while this isn't a major move, I think there are three questions we need to ask ourselves. What's causing the uptrend? What's got markets excited? On top of that as well, where are we heading to? And then the third ultimate question, are we at a bottom just yet? So we got lots to dive into today's video. If you enjoy the content, consider dropping a like. It's one of the greatest ways you can support the channel, and we'll kick it off right after our quick sponsor. And our sponsor for today's video is Grayscale. Grayscale is an open world MMORPG that allows you to take on monsters, quests, and objectives on your own or with friends. But on top of it, you earn when you play. If you're an avid fan of MMORPG titles like RuneScape or World of Warcraft, Grayscale is the perfect game for you. Earn KXS tokens from defeating enemies and upgrade your armor to better your chances on the battlefield. And if you're looking to sell armor, you can mint NFTs for your in-game items and sell them on the OpenSea marketplace. Grayscale is changing the game for play to earn and is one of the few titles with real development and real community. Check out the link down below in the description to learn more. Alrighty, everyone, so let's go ahead and kick things off and start off with the first big question. What's really causing this uptrend in price? I think there are really two key reasons why we're starting to see an uptick in price. The first one has to do with the Grayscale GBTC product, and the second has to do with Mt. Gox, or Magic the Gathering Online Exchange, and the creditor process of returning Bitcoin to original shareholders. So let's go ahead and talk about it. First off, the key thing that I want to discuss is the decline in the discount for GBTC shares. So as many of you probably know, for a long period of time, the Grayscale GBTC product has been on a decline from its previous days in 2020 when it had a massive premium. There's been an overglut in supply of shares on the open market for the actual demand, and this has led likely towards a very big net discount on the assets under management for these shares within the GBTC product. Now we can see that it's obviously been moving up here as Bitcoin is moving up at the moment, but it's moving up at a much more accelerated pace. So a lot of people are starting to think that this is the market starting to price in and tell us that GBTC is all good. And in fact, if we look here at the yearly time frame, we've pretty much taken ourselves back here to where we were on the discount in November of 2022. So we've reverted back a couple months of decline within that GBTC product. And while this is definitely a step in the right direction, because if GBTC is what it says it is, there should definitely be people at this point taking advantage of this arbitrage opportunity for GBTC shares. But again, I want to make it very clear that this does not clear up the concerns that people have around Grayscale's product, let alone Digital Currency Group and Genesis, as well as all the other subsidiaries under its company. There is still a multi-billion-dollar hole in the books that this company has, and we need to be prepared still. Again, while some people might be speculating here and buying the dip, we need to be reasonable and wait for some degree of evidence to come in. The reason why? Take a look at the volume profile here. This is typical spot trading here. Nothing too exciting going on, nothing too exacerbated. If we really had someone out there who had a degree of insider information or knew that Grayscale was in the clear, you'd be seeing a lot larger volume, and you'd be seeing that discount clear up much quicker than we're seeing now. Albeit, again, this is definitely a big move here over the past couple of days. It could also just be, again, that there happens to be short-term demand for Bitcoin and brokerage accounts, as the monetary flows can be quite different. And again, as we've emphasized in the past, right, we've seen these kind of fluctuated moves in the past for the GBTC product, where people would start paying major premiums, or the discount would start to decline quite dramatically due to oversupply. Plus, again, we need to turn back to the fundamentals. While, for example, and this again kind of builds into the optimism that people are talking about, the Morgan Stanley European Opportunity Fund has bought about $3.6 million worth of GBTC. Now again, this has got people saying, oh, Morgan Stanley is long Bitcoin. Well, this is a branch of a fund within Morgan Stanley. It's not Morgan Stanley offering it to a wide range of clients. It's not going in with billions of dollars, as many people continuously claim big institutions are doing, which again is just too far out. If you're really talking about institutions as in the traditional banks, they're not touching with a 10-foot pole. The regulatory policies, the recommendations from regulators are that banks stay away from crypto right now. And I think a lot of banks are probably not hesitant to do so because of all the fallout that's been going on in crypto and the regulatory pressure that's going to come with it. We got to be realistic about this stuff, guys. I understand a lot of people think that there's some cabal that's buying Bitcoin. And yeah, there's definitely maybe some investors out there, probably hedge funds, people with so much money they don't know what to do with. Yes, going out there and buying Bitcoin. But we've got to realize there is still so much structural changes going on in crypto, and the mess that Digital Currency Group and Genesis have due to the imbalance in their balance sheet is going to wreak havoc on the crypto space. They are the backbone infrastructure for a lot of the liquidity and credit within the crypto space that kept things running, that helped stimulate a bull market, and kept us going. So there's a lot of big issues here to keep in mind when it comes to the whole saga around the Grayscale product and more specifically Digital Currency Group. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about the second big thing that I think is really driving up prices here. And this is something that fundamentally respect where it's due. The Magic the Gathering online exchange, or Mt. Gox as it's more formally known as, repayment registration deadline has been moved to March 2023. Now, as you all probably remember, we did a video on this back a couple days ago, about a week or two ago, as one of the key things that we're really concerned about. And to be honest, this is definitely a net positive for Bitcoin in the short term. It is going to relieve that immediate kind of interjection of a lot of liquidity or Bitcoin onto the open market. A lot of that supply that could be distributed or sold off onto the market, which would weigh down prices. But again, this is just pushing it off until March of 2023. Now, perhaps they'll continue doing this, perhaps as they've done since pretty much 2015, 2016, they'll continue to push it down the line. But it's getting to a point here where if they don't do it quite soon and Bitcoin's price moves low enough, there could be enough pressure here from the actual creditors themselves to get that unlock to happen, right? And again, it's best to do it now than wait around and see where price is. If they're really trying to gamble and wait for prices to go higher, that's going to spell really bad news and could eventually be an even bigger leg of capitulation for crypto. That's the problem with bear markets, especially ones like this that are recessionary bear markets that Bitcoin has never lived through before. People start thinking, maybe we'll just hold out. We'll see if things get better. It's going to get better, right? The Fed's going to come in. People are going to start buying. The price will be higher. And this is the problem of thinking within these bear markets. It's what causes relief rallies and pretty much sell-offs down to new lows. We have to be able to hedge our social lines. Probably took advantage of that strength back in August. We sold our positions, went into mainly cash, have a few of our crypto positions. But generally speaking, we have no major updates here. And this is why I want to move into kind of point number 2. Where are we heading here? And whether or not, question number 3, have we hit a bottom? And I gotta be honest with you guys, there's still no genuine signs yet that we have hit a bottom in this market, right? Just because price has not set in a new low since November does not mean we have set in our market low. You could have said the exact same thing if that were the rule, right? For multiple months, right? Going from June to November, we had not hit a new low, and then out of nowhere, contagion plays out, we move to new lows, Bitcoin sets in new bear market lows, and still, even at this percentage decline from top to bottom, is not at the typical bear market decline that we have seen in previous normal crypto bear markets, which had nowhere near the same degree of contagion that we're seeing, weren't in a inflationary, recessionary period. Again, all of the things are stacked up to showcase that this has got a little bit of a ways to go. And sure, there will be relief rallies along the way. Right? We saw this one at 43% back in June to August, right? And you can capitalize on those. You can sell existing positions if you want into that strength. You can make short-term trades. Have at it. It's totally fine. It's your decision to make those things. But what I'm really trying to do here is cater to 99.5% of you out there who are not really active traders. Most of you who just want to know, have we really gotten near that bottom or a period of time where the reward to risk ratio is much more favorable to go long on Bitcoin? And I got to be honest with you guys, what I think is starting to formulate here, if we're taking a look at the significant points of support and resistance, I think is a descending wedge, which is a bullish pattern. it is something that signals that in the future we could see Bitcoin starting to move up, but likely at a lower price level than where we're at now. Now, this is the more optimistic scenario, I would say. There are many good reasons to think that Bitcoin could move slowly but steadily or swiftly down towards around 12K, 10K, much worse levels than this. But on the more optimistic end, we might be building a descending wedge with accelerating lower highs at a faster pace than the support range. And this generally can lead towards a wedging in price where, again, we would get maybe shot down here in late January, we move within this channel, and then we start to whipsaw higher going into the later half of 2023. Again, just using the drawing as an illustration purpose. We don't know how it's exactly going to play out. But the key thing here is this. If we take a look at those moving averages, we are far away from testing those 200-day moving averages. In fact, we have not come up to test the 200-day since as far back as April of 2023. And again, as I've emphasized to the channel, as we are trending below the 200-week for the first time in history for this prolonged period of time and well below the 200-day without retesting it, I will happily wait and pay a premium. I'd happily pay $20,000 Bitcoin before I would actually go long in this case at around 17,000. The reason why is I'm not here to pick bottoms. I'm not here to pick the absolute low, and I'm not here to catch falling knives. No smart trader is going to do that. I'm just trying to be honest with you guys on this, and there's a reason for it. Because for a trader, you don't care so much about getting the absolute best price and potentially risking taking another 25-50% haircut. What you care about is waiting for the trend to give you the signals that it's ready to fly, that it's time to get on the rocket ship. We don't know exactly where it's going, but when that market momentum comes in, that's when we strike. Again, I would love to see a nice solid 10% daily candle, 10-15%. That really tells me, Nick, it's time to stop being bearish, time to get long, time to start looking for things to go up and to the right. And we have not seen that yet. I'm seeing continued negative sentiment here. I'm seeing the negative market order flow, more things unraveling from the contagion. A lot of people estimating that the Fed is going to come back in and start doing rate cuts as soon as this year. Got to be honest with you guys, looking at the realities of inflation and knowing how long it can take to get us down to 2% and stay there for a healthy enough period to actually contain inflation, I think a lot of people have got another thing coming to them. And I think that we could see this 20% rally from those lows in November, which means we've seen the majority of it here at around 13%. We could go up to 20% here, somewhere around 18,600. But I think after that, we're going to be moving down to new lows. We're going to come back down into this range here at around $14,000. And eventually, I think, as we've talked about on the channel, 12,500 is really that target that historically would be able to provide the previous resistance turned into support as the foundation for the next bull market. That would be wonderful if we could build an accumulation channel across that price range, signifying that we're ready for the next cycle. But we're going to have to see how it plays out. I don't think the news pieces that are driving this uptrend are sustainable. We have no fundamental updates around Grayscale that are noteworthy, as well as the Gox repayment is just simply kicking the can down the road. And I think eventually they're going to be forced to be able to go out and provide that Bitcoin to the creditors. Because if they sit around, I think it's going to make things even worse. I'd much rather have it happen now at 17K than risk having it happen at 14 or 13K. It's just going to lead prices to potentially go even lower and cause further capitulation and distrust in the system. So, anyways, guys, I've rambled on a decent amount here today. I don't want to be too negative. Right? As we talked about, we've got our textbook play for whether or not the trend is in or out. And that's all that matters. Right now, we are in a clear downtrend in the broader term of things. Sometimes there will be these bump ups in price, but we got to make sure we don't get caught off guard on every single green candle that plays out on Bitcoin's price. If you do that, you'll get caught trading too much, trading with emotions, trading with leverage, and other things that are going to rob you of your capital. Sometimes our greatest enemy is ourselves, and we got to be able to stay disciplined to a strategy that we at least know works and make sure at its baseline to protect our capital first and foremost. Anyways, guys, I've rambled on a good amount here. If you like this video, even if you agree or disagree, if it proved valuable for you guys, drop a like. It's one of the greatest ways you can support the channel. And outside of that as well, as you guys saw from the pre-roll, Grayscale is one of our new long-term partners. I'm planning to do a live stream with them on the upcoming beta launch on the 13th. So if you guys are interested to check that out, definitely follow them over on Twitter so you guys can figure out the details on that to sign up on their Twitch account and follow them. But until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everyone.